Welcome back to the channel. This is Mark's Train Reviews. Today we're going to take a look at some vintage Brio. Back here in the background, that is a modern piece of Brio. That is the double suspension bridge. And here in the foreground, this is some vintage Brio. This is, I couldn't find the release date. I don't know exactly what year it came out. This was mine from back in the day. I got this. This was a gift from my great aunt and uncle for Christmas of 1983. And this was a really cool gift to get. I was 3 years old at the time. I was born in 1980, but I remember opening this. I also remember really wanting it. I was very into Brio at that time. And this was one of like the premier Brio pieces to have. My parents had gotten me some sets, and I had some like that locomotive back there. That was one of my original locomotives, and I still have a lot of my Brio, not all of it, but a lot of it. But you know, as you start building your little Brio world and railroad empire, this was one of the very cool things to have, was this bridge. This is a very long bridge in Brio terms. These longer pieces of straight track, be it vintage Brio or modern Brio, they're the same size. But these longer pieces here, it is the length of 5 of these. These 3 center pieces are made with that, obviously. The ramps are designed to be the same length, and that way if you're making an oval, or that way you can keep your track symmetrical and everything lines up on the other end. We'll talk more about this double suspension bridge in the next video, and at that point I will also do more of a direct comparison of the two. But yeah, this was one of the Big Daddy creme de la creme kind of showcase pieces to have back in the day. This was really slick. This is Brio 33353. That is the item number, or model number. This is the Arched Girder Bridge, or Girder Bridge with arch. I believe it's Arched Girder Bridge. There's a couple of iterations of this. There's a couple versions of this, and we'll talk about some differences here. And I'm trying really hard to find some old Brio catalogs so I can get model numbers and dates and stuff more correct. Again, I'm sorry I don't have an exact release date. I got mine in 83, so it's in 83 or somewhere maybe a little before. I would guess this is early 80s. I don't think it was out in the 70s. But other versions of this, and they're the same length, and they'll have these pieces here, but the arch, this is where some of the differences come in. In later models, see, mine has this little tiny nail, and mine held up just fine. I never had any problems. It's original. I've never had to make any repairs to it or anything, but I'm guessing maybe some people had some issues in later versions. So I guess like mid to late 80s, they have more of a thicker screw piece right here. And then also late 80s, and I think they made this into the early 90s. And if I'm wrong, please politely correct me in the comments. I don't want to get anything wrong, but I just haven't been able to locate any catalogs at a reasonable price so I can get all the info exactly correct. But somewhere, I'm going to guess around 89, 90. This arch switched to a red piece of plastic, more akin to the double suspension bridge. So you might see this for sale with some minor differences, like the bigger screw or whatever. This, to my knowledge, this is the OG. This is the original version, and mine at least has held up very well. I have no complaints. My Brios were very played with. So you're not going to have, with vintage Brio, you're not going to have any problems with clearance issues. This Santa Fe Super Chief, if you saw that review, this came out a little later. This came out, I think, in 97, if I remember right, 95 or 97. but it fits just fine. Those old Brio cars over there will sit fine. And about a year and a half ago, I did a review, maybe about a year ago, I did a review of the Speedy Bullet Train. And I was sure this was going to be just like Lego's. Old Brio was going to work just fine with modern Brio, and at a glance, doesn't look like you're going to have any problems. But unfortunately, whoops, I derailed. But unfortunately, yeah, the cab is just not going to quite clear. Now, to be fair to the nice people at Brio, I'm sure nobody was really expecting somebody to be playing with this modern Speedy Bullet Train that Brio makes with a 40-year-old bridge. But I just kind of expected it to all be compatible, and it wasn't. So other compatibility issues, in case you're thinking about getting one, is the battery operated. It is also just a little bit too tall. And that would also apply to this locomotive siblings. There's a green version and there's a gold version. So buyer beware on that front if you're running modern Brio trains. So that's just kind of some of the differences I'm aware of with different versions and iterations of this that came out. It lines up real nice. Let me show you guys. So we've got these 5 long straight pieces, and it just lines up really, really nice. So if you're making an oval or something, it won't be oblong or a little off center or anything like that. It'll all connect really perfectly. And that's a little foreshadowing of something I'm going to talk about here, because I've had a couple issues with the double suspension bridge, and we'll get to that in the review of that video. But I wanted to talk about this though. This is probably like my favorite piece from back in the day. This is the, and I had another bridge. I still have it. I'll do a review on that. But this was the really, really cool one. If you are collecting vintage Brio, if you find a lot for sale that has one of these and it's not too expensive, grab it. These are not cheap, apparently. I guess, especially this early version that just has a nail, doesn't have the big screw or the red plastic arch. I guess maybe a lot of these didn't survive, or they're becoming harder to find. Understandable, they're 40 plus years old at this point, but just kind of a little research, anywhere from 50 to 75 bucks is what you can expect to pay for this bridge. If you've had much better luck, I congratulate you. Maybe I just was having bad luck when I was kind of pricing these. By comparison, this modern bridge, the double suspension bridge, you can find it on sale sometimes, but generally it goes for about 40 bucks. I don't know what this cost back in the day. It was a Christmas gift, and I was also 3 years old, so I wasn't really cognizant of prices and stuff. And I don't even want to make a guess at it, because with inflation and everything, I am sure though this Brio has never been cheap. Let's just acknowledge that. And I am sure this was not like inexpensive, relative to other Brio products at the time. The aunt and uncle that this came from, they didn't spoil us or anything like that, but they were not stingy with their gifts. So I mean, I know when my mom gave them a list of things I might like or whatever, they didn't bat an eye at picking this up for us. But I know it wasn't the cheap thing back in the day. So I don't know what the modern equivalent would be. I really don't want to guess what prices, but when I saw that sometimes these go for 50 to 75 bucks, and I'm sure in a box complete it would fetch over 100, that didn't really surprise me. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was a $40, $50 thing even back in the 80s. That's pure conjecture, speculation, semi-dumb educated guess on my part, but that's just pure pure guesswork. So, you know, if you're enjoying your vintage Brio, have at it. And this is an awesome piece. And this is apparently something collectors really like to have. So I've read anyway. But you might have some issues with some of your modern locomotives making it under this arch. And again, I never had any issues, but I know they did increase that little nail to a big screw just because some of them weren't staying together, and later on it became a big red plastic arch. So just be aware of that. But this thing is still very solid. These have never come loose. This has never come loose. And this was very, very much played with back in the day. So this was the Brio 33353 Arched Girder Bridge from way back in the day, at least 1983, if not before. And if you know any more details, or if I got anything wrong, please leave a comment in the comment section. I am a student of Brio. I'm always looking to learn more. So if I got something wrong, or if you know something I don't, please share.